What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Horror Heads podcast. I am Rich Mallory here with my co-host Jerry Lorenko.
What's up, Rich?
Oh shit! All right, yeah, no, doing all right tonight. We're doing another episode of Horror Shots. That's where Jerry and I alternate. We each pick a random ass movie to talk about, and we do these kind of shorter episodes to kind of fill in some gaps in between our longer episodes. So we hope you're enjoying it. Much more chill vibe. We're just going to kind of chill, sip a little bit, and talk about movies. So which one did this tonight was your choice? So what'd you pick for us to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I wanted a film that I've been wanting to watch for quite some time. You always hear it. It's always on a lot of people's list. A lot of people always go on about it. And of course, it's Nepo Baby's Osgood Perkins' first film. So I thought I had to try it. It's The Blackcoat's daughter.
Yeah, same thing. I think I started watching it like a few years ago and didn't get very far, and I think I just got sidetracked. So I was excited to kind of check it out again. And yeah, we're gonna sip some bourbon. We're gonna talk about it. You could follow us on Instagram at horrorheadspodcast. Email us at horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. You could listen to this wherever podcasts are available, or you could watch the video on YouTube. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Every subscribe helps. So please do that. So
Hell
tonight
yeah.
I'm drinking kind of what I drank when we had Mercedes on recently. I'm drinking a
Oh, word.
Little Brothers Bond again. So what do you got
Woo.
tonight?
Can't go wrong with Brothers Bond. I mean, I'm actually wearing a Brothers Bond hoodie right now, so I don't know if you can see that. It's
Yeah,
probably
no,
reversed.
yeah.
It's probably reversed. But I'm not drinking Brothers Bond. I am still working my way through this goddamn Maker's Mark 101. It's almost empty. I have to get through it. It's my goal to finish it in February. So I'm
All
drinking
right, you
some
got.
Maker's Mark 101. It's definitely not my favorite Maker's Mark. I love Maker's Mark. Just there's just something about this one. It just does I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I haven't tried it, so one day I probably will. And you have a few more weeks to finish it off, so let's see what happens tonight. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about the Blackcoat's daughter. As you said, it's Osgood Perkins' first film. He went on to do Longlegs, The Monkey, and Keeper. Out of his four films, I think I'm a fan of one of them, Longlegs. But this is where it all began. I'll give the plot of it really quick. So, two Catholic schoolgirls, Kat and Rose, get left behind at their boarding school over winter break. As the other girls leave, there are some rumors that the nuns are Satanists. Meanwhile, a disturbed mental patient named Joan is picked up by a middle-aged couple who drive her to the same school where some bad shit had happened. And yeah, a lot of people have this movie as like one of their top like horror films like ever.
Oh yeah.
Which yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. So like I know you kind of like this movie a little bit, so I'd like to kind of hear a little bit. I kind of know one of the reasons why you like it. The movie has a very snowy atmosphere,
Yeah.
which I dig. The movie's got it's a mood, and I do like
Yeah.
that. It's a very slow burn, but in the end, it kind of left me with more questions than answers, and I was kind of confused for a lot of it. So I'll get into more about some of the things I liked, disliked about this movie. How about you? Like, kind of, what are your thoughts on it, seeing it for the first time? Oh, it's also 2015 this movie came out.
Yeah, I was pretty psyched because when I was looking for this, I saw the original name was February, and I was like, "Oh
Great name for a
fuck,
movie. Yeah.
here we go." I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is and this film is February. It's cold, snowy, isolated atmosphere. This is the type of film, Rich, where you definitely shouldn't watch it during the day. I don't know if you did that, but it's definitely something you should be watching on a dark." Cold night and just kind of like cuddle up. You get a blanket and you throw this bad boy on. And for me, I thought it was really interesting. I thought the storytelling was really interesting because it's confusing. You
Very
know,
confusing.
there is a story there, and when it all kind of unfolds, you're like, oh, and it just kind of like hits you. For that moment to happen, yeah, a lot takes place. You have to get like about a good hour and 10 into this film before like you really start seeing anything. But I mean, I thought it was good, I mean, the cast, I mean, Emma Roberts, Kieran Shipka, pretty amazing. I thought they did a good job. I was never a huge fan of Kiernan Shipka because she always reminds me of Mad Men. I just kind of always picture her when she was like 10 or 11 years old. But I think she really grew into like doing these horror films. And I think she just definitely plays like a creepy kid in this film. I mean, she's a good creepy kid in this film. And I was kind of scared with of her. And if I was trapped in this boarding school for like a week alone with her, I don't know, I'd be a little nervous, Rich. So I thought she did a good job. I mean, really, I mean, there's probably five, six cast, maybe seven cast members in this whole film. So it's not a huge cast. So you really have to like basically the two or three people that you're staring at the whole time. And I did, I thought it was a good mood. I thought it got creepy at times. It was super dark. And the non-linear kind of out of sequence story. I think it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. It was a good way to tell a simple story, I think.
Yeah, so a few things about what you said. So you definitely this is one you definitely have to pay attention to. You can't be on your phone during this movie because you will be confused as hell. Because yeah, it is told out of sequence and it is hard to follow at times. Like you said, there is a story there. I have some questions about the story as I was still confused at the end of it. But you do need to lock into this movie, or like you're just going to be completely lost, and you're not going to have any idea what's going on. Regarding the cast, I had like the opposite
Oh,
reaction,
word?
and
Wow.
yeah, and honestly, like I felt everybody was very one note in this movie,
Mm,
especially Kiernan Shipka, who again,
really?
I feel like in everything I see her in, she plays the exact same character where most of the time she's just staring stone cold, not doing anything, like not emoting. And to me, I was getting really bored with the cast. I thought the one who plays Rose,
Rose.
Lucy Boynton, was probably the best of
Really? Wow.
the
Okay.
three, and even her, I feel like just didn't they didn't do enough. I felt like again there was just a lot of just brooding and like just and I just didn't feel like they did a good job. Like Kieran was just weird, and I don't know. I didn't like how she played that character. Like I didn't think she was creepy. I just thought she was just boring. So for me, especially like you said, this movie is very limited cast, which I do like those kind of movies. I mean, we just talked about Bone Lake a couple weeks ago, where or whatever it was that had very limited cast and but was interesting. And I felt that for this, like I just couldn't really get into the characters, and I couldn't really understand their motivations for things. Like it was just odd to me. And just I kind of to get to the plot, we're gonna spoil this because you kind of have to if you want to talk
Yeah, if
about
you want
it.
to talk about it, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
have to we're gonna have to spoil a lot here. But I
yeah,
think it might help someone watch it if we do spoil it,
yeah,
honestly.
and sometimes
I think you
spoiling
need
things doesn't
info.
ruin it, right? I don't think it
Yeah.
was. I don't think the ending was that much of a big shock where I'm like, oh my
No.
god, I gotta talk about this ending. But again, it turns out that Kiernan Shipka, who plays Kat, is possessed by a demon or the
Hmm.
devil, and the so basically the movie takes two timelines. There's the timeline of Kat and Rose being stuck at the school, and then there's a timeline with Ebba Roberts who plays a character named Joan who is picked up by this couple and ends up like killing them basically. And you find out in the end that Joan actually is Kat, and okay, that part I can kind of make sense. But I guess what I didn't really get is I think it needed some backstory or something because like it was just odd. I came out of nowhere, like, oh, she's possessed by the devil. Like, oh, okay. Like, it wasn't explained. At least if it was, I missed it as to like how all that happened and like why I should care. So when I finally got to the big twist at the end, I was kind of like, oh, that's what's going on. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere for me. And again, maybe I'm missing something, but I kind of needed like more. Like, there wasn't enough like satanic stuff in the movie for me to be like believe it.
Yeah, I could kind of hear you there, and it wasn't like predominant, but what we could assume is that her parents were involved with the occult, and somehow they made some sort of deal that basically got passed on to her.
Can I stop you
But
for a second? Is that in the movie or are you just assuming that? Because I don't remember any of that.
I'm assuming it because I'm going to tell you why. Because when she's calling her parents, she's essentially calling the demon, and the demon is talking to her, and the demon is basically telling her what to do. And she's not creeped out that she's on the phone with a demon. She's just kind of talking to the demon, and she embraces the demon in her life. And I think that is a big part of her character, is that she's extremely lonely and she just kind of depends on like these demons in her life to kind of keep her company and to help guide her, because maybe we don't know what happened to her parents. We don't know if they're still there. We don't know if they are just essentially became the demons. Like, we don't know anything that happened with her parents, so she is alone and all she has is this kind of demon. So I think because of that, I kind of felt bad for her, and I kind of felt like she, like, it was kind of sad that this is what she needed, and she was willing to do whatever they wanted her to do. And I think one of the biggest moments in the film was when basically after she kind of goes on like the killing spree, and she is in the hospital, and they try to perform that exorcism on her, and she doesn't want them to. She doesn't want the demons to be expelled. She wants them in her life. And I think that said basically everything about her character. I just that's how I took it.
So like that's a good story right there. Like I like that, of someone being again possessed by a demon or has a demon like that they're talking to or whatever, and they don't want to let it go for that reason. I just didn't pick up any of that from the movie. And maybe it's just overly subtle for me. Maybe again, like it's interesting how you kind of were able to interpret all of this, and I was just like, wait, what? Like it just came out of nowhere. And then when you finally get to the end, like, and you realize that like the demon is finally gone, and Emma Roberts is like upset that the demon is gone. I
Yeah,
was so confused.
it's
I had to
not
go on
even upset.
Wikipedia,
She's like broken. She's like
but
a
I didn't understand that. It wasn't clear to me. I had to actually look it up and be like, wait, what happened in this movie? Which again, it's very possible that I just missed a lot of the cues because this movie's very slow, which isn't always a bad thing. But for me, I might have zoned out at times and missed like big things that contribute to this. Because again, when you finally get to these twists, which were a good twist, I think it just for me it just felt like it came out of nowhere, and I was like, I would have like liked this movie better if it explained that stuff. And again, I don't like when movies over explain things, but I feel like this needed something more. And but again, maybe I just missed it. Maybe it just was over my head, and because people love this movie, so everybody else must. You got it. Like you picked up on this. I didn't. Maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the first time I watched it, but I felt like there was just a couple hints like here and there that kind of like told me like what was going on. Like I thought like for the most part, I thought Joan had like the most interesting story, and I liked when they're focused on her, and when basically she's picked up at the bus stop, and she's essentially like an escaped from an asylum, and this couple who happen to be going in the same direction of the school that she wants to end up going to, which is the Branford Academy, which is where all these murders took place, which is also where their daughter actually was murdered. They just happened to be going there, and I just thought there was a lot of cues in her story to like let you know what's going on. Like when she came out the shower, there was like some sort of like bullet kind of scar that was like on her shoulder, and she was just like really kind of light on like her past and things like that. I was like, okay, I'm starting to pick this up, and I think something, quite a few years passed. I couldn't really tell how old Kat was, but I'm gonna assume Joan was maybe like
I think they
19,
say it. I think it's like
20.
8 years after or
Yeah,
something.
like 19 or 20, and you could tell, and really she just wants to get back to that school to see if the demons are there waiting for her. And I don't know, it's just such a tragic story to me that all this time she was basically just kind of waiting in the asylum, waiting for someone to come get her, and wherever her parents may be, who knows, dead, alive, we don't know. And
I think they did.
just
I
the
think they're dead.
demons,
You could.
you
I
know?
think you could assume that her
Yeah.
parents died because I feel like there's a scene when the nuns get a phone call, and I believe that's the phone call saying that her parents died. So again, I think very interesting story, like on paper. Like if you explain it to me,
Yeah.
like it sounds really interesting, but I just didn't get that from the movie. I will say again that Emma Roberts' storyline is the more interesting because you kind of are trying. It's creepy because you don't know if the middle-aged couple that picked her up has sinister motives or
Yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on. And there's
They
some
definitely seem
interesting
creepy.
there's some
Yeah.
interesting exchange. So I have actually a question for you. So I'm assuming at first I was assuming that the father of Rose who's dead, they're going back to the
Mhm.
school that Rose died at. The father picks up Joan. At first I thought it was because he reminds her of his daughter, but thinking about it, do you think he reminded her I'm sorry, she reminded him of the killer, and that's why they picked her up? Because there's that scene right before Joan murders the couple where the wife gets like really angry and she's then they're kind of having this argument. And I just wonder, like, were they picking her up to kill her? Or did he just remind her of her daughter? Like, do you have an opinion on that?
I do have an opinion, and this is what took me the longest time to kind of get over, and it was differentiating Rose and Joan. I thought they looked very, very similar. So as a trigger to the parents thinking that this young girl looked like their daughter could be 8 or 9 years later seemed very real to me. And I think that the mother was getting upset because maybe the father kind of thinks that everyone looks like his daughter. He's always trying to make every young girl could be his daughter. And he's always like gravitating towards them. And she's kind of rebelling, being like, oh, you don't look like her. You don't look anything like her. She looked fucking exactly like her, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like I
That's
like
what it was confusing too, like because I would say all three of them kind of look
kind
similar.
of
Like
looks similar
if I
and
didn't know they were all like if I didn't know them from other things, I think I would have easily been
excuse me.
confused at certain times because like they do all seem very similar.
They look very similar now. I definitely know what Emma Roberts looked like, and it took me like a quarter of the film to realize that wasn't her. Yeah, so like I was like, man, these girls look similar. I know what Emma Roberts looks like. I know what Kieran Shipka looks like, but it's like they all did kind of look similar. Obviously, Shipka looked like the youngest character, but again, when the timeline was kind of like flipping around and moving around, I was like, is Joan pretending to be Rose? Is Rose pretending to be Joan? I'm like, what is happening here? And it just kind of took like basically, I guess until like it got deeper into her story. And again, you saw like, that I think the bullet wound was the biggest hint because when Catherine gets shot by the police, I don't think I'm spoiling anything here. I didn't think she was dead. There was no indication that she was going to die from that shot, even though they did like, they shot her, then they did a quick cut and they went to a different story. I didn't think, I'm like, nah, no way. And
Yeah, you
that
know
was
what?
the case.
I thought she was dead, and I
Oh,
was
really?
again,
Wow.
yeah, I just really confused the whole time I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, but even if I thought she was dead, like it still doesn't mean like I don't know. I just guess I didn't pick up on any of this stuff. I will say that, the killing of the nuns was pretty brutal. Um, which is because this movie like takes a long time to get to horror. Like it's probably not a horror movie until like you're an hour in. And even then, like I still don't know if it's a horror movie or not, which again doesn't mean it's not good, but it didn't feel like a horror movie, even though there was again these like it's about the devil possessing people and it has all the some of the horror tropes. So you did mention there's an exorcism. I will say I'm kind of grateful. It was probably the quickest exorcism I've ever seen in a movie. Like it took the priest longer to like set up his stuff. Like that was such a long scene of him setting it up, and then they do the exorcism. It's like 45 seconds, which
You, you
again
know,
I'm glad because I don't need to see another long exorcism scene. I've
yeah.
seen it.
Do you want to know what's annoying? Really long exorcisms.
Yeah, I'm good. I've seen enough. So I was
Yeah,
grateful there, but
like someone yelling and the priest going, "I compel you." It's like
yeah.
I mean, I would say an exorcism is basically a trope. A long exorcism is a trope at this point because you're just like, okay, I get it. It's something difficult. I like that they did it brief where they're like, look, it ain't that serious. I could do this in like 5, 10 minutes in a hospital. And like he's like, no one's looking. Like, think
Yeah.
about like what, like the person next to her in the hospital bed was like, the fuck is going? on over there right now? Are they doing an exorcism? I'd be hitting that like that buzzer thing going, can somebody roll me out of this room right now because they're doing an exorcism? But they did it really fast. And again, just like, when that demon appears, I thought the demon was creepy. I thought they did a good job, with showing the demon. I feel like if they showed too much, it probably wouldn't have been scary, but I mean, I was like a little creeped out. I mean, it just kind of showed up in the daytime, and I was like, man, that's kind of creepy. I think some of the basement scenes where Catherine was kind of doing like her kind of ritual there, her demonic ritual, which again was kind of funny because Rose was trying to tell her a scary story to creep her out about the nuns practicing Satanism when I just feel like Catherine for like 3/4 of the film was already possessed. And I think it was just like a light switch that kind of turned it on, which was, that phone call. But I think it was there the whole time. And I think it was funny how she tried to creep her out, but she was the creepy one. And she was like, basically, I don't know if I don't know what she was, possessed, I
Yeah, it
guess.
was it was definitely there the whole time because, and I wrote a note in this because I was confused. Very early in the movie, like Kieran Shipka, Cat is she's smiling randomly, like
Yeah.
she's a smirk, like when she shouldn't. And I wrote down, I'm like, why is she always smiling? Like, what is actually happening? Like, I didn't know if it was going to be like a plot point or if it's just her being weird. But that's what I'm interpreting is she always kind of had it in her. Now, so question. So Emma Roberts on the way to back to the school to
Yeah.
rekindle with the demon.
Yeah.
She does murder the couple that was trying to help her. If she wasn't possessed at this point, why did she do that then? Like, what was the
Mm.
point of that? Like, just because she was making an offering? Because you get the feeling that like she's been quote unquote cured, um, which also makes me think like was she ever possessed or was she
Good.
just crazy?
Good point. I mean, I'm gonna leave that up to interpretation. I don't know. I thought it was just to me, like initial reaction when I saw it is like, get rid of the witnesses, let me steal their car and get to the school because they weren't necessarily driving to the school per se. They were going next to it, I believe, to the town after, but she still had to get to that school and the wife didn't want to stop.
Oh,
So
that's
I
right, because she's asking him to pull over. That's right. I
Yeah,
forget. I
and
remember.
so I thought maybe it was just like kind of like, well, I don't want anyone to see me breaking into this school, which I don't know if it was abandoned or if it was the same time of year. I don't know what really. I mean, clearly there was no one in the school at that time.
I'm assuming it's the anniversary of, so it's around that time, I would assume. However, like there would still be like caretakers there, so maybe
None,
it was
somebody
abandoned,
there.
which
Yeah,
makes sense. It
so
would be
it
abandoned. I mean,
closed. Yeah,
there's a
maybe it
horrific
closed.
murder. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was at least 3 or 4 people that were killed there, that we know about. So I think she just had to break into that. And again, this is conjecture. This is just, yeah, I'm guessing here at best. But yeah, that's really my initial thought. I'm like, she just wanted to get to that school, and it didn't matter how she got there. They were just, kill bait to in the way, and let me get rid of them, take their car, and no one knows that I did this kind of thing. Plus she was escaped, and that was another thing. She was
Oh,
always
right,
kind of like
right,
on the
right.
verge of anyone really finding out of who she was. Obviously, they would bring her back. She probably wouldn't even go back to asylum. She'd probably end up going to jail or something like that. So I think to me, I just took it as witnesses, and I could be
That makes
wrong.
sense. No, I think you're right. And look, here's the thing. Like, when I finished this movie, I was like, I did not like this movie.
Hmm.
I do like that there's a lot to discuss and there's a lot of things that are open for interpretation because I do like movies that make you think. And maybe if again I watch it again and I kind of can maybe pick up on some clues, I just keep going back to I didn't like the actors how they were acting. They were really boring to me. I feel like it took forever to get going. I was very confused through a lot of the movie. And I do feel that like the ending came out of nowhere. And again, it could have just been I didn't pick up on some stuff, but that was really hard for me because I was like, wait, there's the devil is I was just so confused.
I
I
mean,
think
I
look,
think it's
it's tough.
intentional. It's intentional 100% to be confusing. I think it literally leaves you there. And I guarantee 50% of the people who watched it didn't even catch that, Joan and Kat are the same person, So,
Yeah, I had to look up, like, read it, like, plot for plot, like what actually happened in this movie, and I was like, oh, I missed that. I didn't get that. Yeah, but I will say, look, good atmosphere. It's a mood. I started watching it during the day, and then I realized like I need to watch this at night
okay,
because
good.
it wasn't getting me. So I did wait, and I picked it back up. Yeah, I don't know. I can't recommend it because
I'm
I personally
surprised.
didn't like it. I know it seems like a kind of
I'm
movie I would
surprised
like.
because I
Yeah.
feel like you would like it. It checks off a lot of boxes for you. It's psychological, it's demonic, it's dark, it's moody. I mean, I think there's some a good. I really do think there's a good story there. I do. I think it's a little convoluted at times, and
Yeah.
maybe if they tighten it up here and there, it would have been a great story instead of a good story. But I thought for what it was, it for me, I think it pulled it off. I'm surprised you didn't like it. I thought I would be the one that's kind of like and you'd be like, oh, this was awesome and stuff like that. I really thought
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, on paper, it's a movie I would love. When you tell me this, when you explain it to me, I'm like, oh, that sounds dope. Like, and
Yeah.
right when I turned it on, I was like, oh, cool. Like, an abandoned Catholic school with, I like such a creepy premise. It just, yeah, I just didn't think the storytelling. And look, it's tough to tell something out of sequence. I just didn't feel like this was effective in doing that.
Mm.
It just like, and I get the story needed to be told that way because otherwise, like, the twist wouldn't be like impactful. But yeah, it was hard. It was too hard to follow for me. So it's definitely not one I recommend. I probably will watch it again at some point. And now that I know kind of what the plot is, maybe I'll appreciate it a little more. But yeah, not a huge fan. And again, this is the fourth Osgood Perkins movie I've seen. I do not like three of them. I only one I liked is Long Legs, and even that one is really hard to follow. And that is a movie you need to watch twice because it doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's the writing maybe is like a problem for these movies, but yeah, I just
Did, did
sorry,
you
go ahead.
feel that there's any connection between this film and Longlegs? Did you
Yeah,
feel like
I
they were
agree.
connected in any way? For me, it's like some timelines definitely worked out for this, and then again with the connection of the parents, kind of unknown, and there's kind of like almost like familial kind of Satan worshiping or demonic possession kind of going on. I saw that, but what I'm not seeing is a lot of people are claiming that this is or Long Legs is a prequel or something like that, or one of these is a prequel to the other.
That's a stretch, but
I'm not
yeah.
seeing that deep of a connection between them, but what I am seeing is a similar story told by the same director. But that's all I'm seeing. I'm curious if you saw more than that.
No, I think it's like what you said. There's really no connection other than they're both like slow burn psychological thrillers about the devil and demonic possession. Like they're very different movies, but very similar too. And I think why I like Long Legs a lot more than this is I think it's like the act. Like you got Nicolas Cage, who's like
Yeah,
fucking awesome in Long Legs, and Maika Monroe, who's really good and really
yeah,
interesting, and her character is like has a lot of layers to it. So there's a lot there. I felt like the three girls again in this movie, as we already kind of stated, are interchangeable. Like they look similar, like they act similar. Like there's no real big difference. And it was again, I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, who is like the protagonist supposed to be? Like who's the end? Like who is the story about? And I didn't really get that until you were like towards the end of the movie, and I'm like, oh, it's
mm,
about like Cat. So whereas like Long Legs, it's like very focused on again this one, detective who may be psychic, who may have these other like connections, and like following her. And I thought that was really interesting. I think also just directing wise was just better at creating suspense. Maybe it was because it's a little faster paced than this one. But they are very similar movies. I will say this movie's nice and short. It's 90 minutes or so, which is
yeah. This is
great.
this is
It
definitely a
could have
short one.
easily been a
I
long
thought you would
movie.
have liked
I
that.
appreciated that, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's very slow. So and it's a long 90 minutes. Like it doesn't go by fast. Like so, yeah. Again, not really a big fan of it. I get why people like it. I don't get why it's people's like favorite movie. Like I think Director Mike Flanagan, who like what you could give or take, he's done some good stuff, done some bad stuff that, in my opinion, not bad, but stuff I like, stuff I don't like. And this is one of his like favorite movies. And is it like
Mm.
why? Like it's not that amazing. Like it's interesting and you could say well done, but I don't think it's like the best like supernatural horror movie to come out in the past 10 years. Or one of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this on a top 10 like for any kind of movie, but that's me.
No, I wouldn't put this on a top 10.
Maybe
I'll
top
tell
10 of 2015. You
I'll
know?
tell you that was a good year. I'll tell you what I will do just to kind of like confirm everything. I think I will definitely watch this film again, and I have been wanting to watch Long Legs again for a little while now. I think I just got to do them back to back and just kind of see if I notice anything outside of maybe what I'm remembering. I haven't seen Long Legs since last year
Yeah,
when we
same.
spoke about it. So it's a little vague. I do remember some things. I feel like the moods are similar, but again, that could just be it's same director. But I think I will watch them in order. So I will watch Long Legs and then this one, and see really what I think about it. Then maybe it'll just be a little more interesting. Maybe it'll be a little more. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to try to get from it, but
Yeah.
I think maybe I need to, at least to be fair, is to do that, and then really think about how I feel about both those films. Because honestly, I remember I was kind of going on quite a bit about Long Legs. I liked it a lot, even though I didn't have a great experience in the theater when I was watching it. There was the guy sleeping next to me that was
Snoring.
snoring, but when I watched it at home, I still liked it. But you know what? If I really like something, it's rewatchability, and it's like how come I haven't put this movie on in a year?
You know what it is
So
though? I'll kind of counter that. And I'm with you. I think it's rewatchability, but I think Long Legs is like a mood and it's one that you have to pay attention to. So I think
okay,
like it's one of those where I really liked it. I think I've seen it like two or three times and I like it a little more every time I see it. But like I gotta really be in the mood for it. And if it's like 10 o'clock at night and I'm just like, I want to put on a movie, like that's not the one I'm gonna put on because like I want to see it through, right? So it's like I might put on something that's a little lighter, something I'm more familiar with. So like it could be that it's same thing like we were talking about like weapons. Like why did it take me a year to
yeah.
rewatch Weapons? Because I gotta really be in the mood and lock into it. And like it's not something I'm just gonna put on because like I enjoy certain parts of it, you know? So I think that might be I might be wrong, but I think that might be why it's like same thing. Why I'm not really rewatching Long Legs a lot because I think you just got to really be in the mood for it.
That
Slow burn movies, you got to be, especially ones that are like kind of like detective stories, which that one is, where you kind of piece it together. Like it's not something you're just gonna watch all the time. Like you could put on Friday 13th anytime, and you just don't you get going in and out of
yeah.
it, right?
I
But like
mean,
these movies, you kind of got to start it, you got to kind of go through it. So that could be it.
definitely that definitely could be it, and I'm hoping I get in that mood sometime soon. At least during the winter time. That way the mood kind of matches up. I can't picture watching this on like a sunny August kind of early night. The sun's still out, and I don't think this would really capture that. I think you have to like kind of live it and be in it and be like, all right, I could picture myself kind of being there. I could feel the creepiness. I could do all that. So I think I have to try this soon. But I'm willing to do it because I didn't think this movie was that bad. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I definitely liked this movie. And I would 100% watch it again. And I think I would. I think I would recommend this to someone who was looking for something that was just dark and moody and atmospheric. I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's, looking for like a great horror film. There's some good kills, but honestly, if you divide that by the the time of the movie, it's not a good ratio. So I wouldn't recommend it for that. But I think it has some moments, and I know a few people that do love this movie. Like when I mentioned, oh, I'm going to be watching this for the podcast. Quite a few people got excited, go, oh, I love that movie. And I don't know if that's just like a reaction because you hear like Osgood Perkins and like that's what you're supposed to say as like a horror fan. It's like, oh, it's a great movie. I don't know, but I did get a lot of positive feedback when I said I was going to watch this.
Just before we wrap this up, just a question, like, why is it called The Blackcoat's Daughter, which is a terrible title for a horror
Did that
movie?
guy have a black coat though?
What the
The
who?
demon, yeah, the demon. They showed him like two or three times, and he was always wearing a black coat. So
Oh, okay.
I kind of took it as that. It was like a trench coat looking thing. They showed him like early on, and then they show him like during
Oh,
the
they show him early
exorcism.
on. I must have missed
Yeah,
that because I
yeah,
know
they
from
do.
I saw
Yeah,
him in The
no,
Exorcism, but
yeah, no,
you see him
they show him
briefly.
again. No, they show him again, just as brief, like early on, like first probably 25 minutes of the film. You see him. Um,
You know what it
yeah,
is? Like, I think why I didn't even register that it was a black coat. It was just like a black figure. Because
yeah.
like when I finally saw it, and again, I didn't see it till the very end of the movie when they're doing the exorcism. I was like, wait, what? Like I was like, oh, there is a demon? Like, so I was so just confused by what was happening that I didn't even really get a good look at it. Like
So you want to know what? I was actually nervous that you were going to ask that question, and I didn't Google it. I didn't actually Google like why it's called. Like I should have, because for a minute there, I'm like, why is it called? But just
that would make sense.
just my
That makes
connection
sense.
is that's the that's the demon. I mean, that's the only thing I could tell you about the demon is that he was wearing black.
Okay. No,
That's the
I'll
only
go with
thing I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I should Google it so I know. I don't know. I don't know if that's fact or if I'm just filling it in my head. But I'm
It
gonna.
has to be, right? There's nothing else in the movie
There's
that would be.
nothing there.
So that makes sense. All
There's
right.
literally nothing else that would
And I tell you
tell
what,
you.
over the past like 11 years, and that's how long this movie's been out, every time I come across it, the title of like Blackcoat's Daughter, I don't want to watch that. Like it sounds like a British movie or like, it's a period piece. Like it doesn't sound like what it is, which
Well,
again, it's just the title,
what's
but
what's really annoying is it's like
oh
the
yeah.
Blackcoat's daughter. Like, it's not just Blackcoat's daughter, which to me is a little more like cleaner and zippier. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I get that. It's like the Blackcoat, like who's this person? Who's the person? So I don't think they were predominant enough to kind of get the title, And
Yeah.
and again, a lot of this is guessing because I only watched it one time. Maybe by the fifth time I watch it, I'll be more of an expert in this film, but I'm a true novice right now, and the only thing I could go by is the mood and the feeling I had, and that mood and feeling is I liked it.
All right. So what we do on this show, just to wrap it up, we rate every movie on a scale of 0 to 5 bloody knives, and we do a little drinking game where the rating that I give the movie are the number of seconds Jerry needs to drink for, and vice versa. So look, I'm gonna give mine really quick. Look, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Wow.
I
Okay.
didn't really enjoy it. Like I said, I was confused. I felt like it needed more explanation for me. However, like I do like that it's a movie that got us talking and thinking, so I appreciate it for that. I do like the mood of it, but yeah, like I wouldn't say I was entertained by it, or because I think the whole time I'm just trying to understand what was happening. But again, this wasn't for me, so I'm giving it a 2. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't disappointed that I watched it. I'm actually happy I watched it. I'm happy I have an opinion about it, and I'm happy I could join some conversations that are now 10 years old. I missed it for the last 10 years, but if anyone wants to hit me up and talk about the Blackcoat's daughter, I'm finally available to do that, and I couldn't contribute until this week, so I apologize for that. But I'm gonna give it a little bit better rating than you did because I did like it. I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely gonna watch it again. So I'm gonna give it 3.
All right, well,
Bloody
it's not too
knives.
bad. All right, so
Yeah.
let's drink to that. Let's cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this brothers bond is nice. So that's the Blackcoat's Daughter. You could follow us on Instagram at horrorheadspodcast. Email us at horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. Like, subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this. And yeah, that's it. That's another episode of Horror Shots in the Bag. Hope you all enjoyed it. And till next time, cheers.
Cheers. Peace.